Welcome back to Mosh Pit Podcast. Today's guest is Full Metal Hippies. And I think we had a great time, and I think that you guys will enjoy it. And I would love to give a shout out to our supporters, Dirty White's MC and Rebel 13 Photography. Don't forget, at the end of the video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thank you.
What I've been just talking about, man. It's it's where I'm from. Fuck it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, we're from New England, so
yeah, they're from
we
Connecticut.
bring that whole side of things over too. But we didn't play metal music until we actually showed up in California. This is the first time we ever. That was about maybe 6 years ago. So that's definitely one of the reasons why we sound Californian. You know, we learned it here unseen.
Yeah.
You know,
The best place to learn it. We got I think when it comes to hardcore metal music, man, you got you got a lot of heavy stuff coming out of Florida, a lot of heavy stuff coming out of the South, and then the Midwest gets a little more emo, but it does have some heavy stuff coming out of there, but then there's not a lot in the Northeast, and then you get to the West Coast, and you got Korn, you got all this stuff that's just wild, bro.
We had some good hardcore though in out east, Hatebreed from Connecticut. You got bands like Madball, Agnostic Front. There's a whole different scene out there. So I mean, there's metal, there's death metal, but the hardcore kind of punk scene has always been strong out there, which is cool. So by the time I got to California, we had a big mess of influences, which was cool.
That's why I like going to the cities. You go to Sacramento, you go to San Francisco, you go to LA.
Yep.
You walk around and it's crazy because you walk around General area and you just see normal people. You don't really see people wearing band tees or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if you go out to the city, any of the cities, it's just you'll see people repping it. You'll see you see goths walking around and stuff like that, and you're like, this is what I'm.
That's
talking
when you're
about.
really in the city. That's when you're like, oh, these are locals.
Yeah.
You see somebody with you see somebody wearing a band T-shirt. They're they probably live here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now or it's are you in a band because you're walking around? Yeah,
that's true, bro. I mean, honestly, it was culture shock for us because we grew up in the woods, so that was kind of neat. Showing up and everyone's talking to you on the side of the street. You're making friends like this. You guys met John Sprite the other day. It's a good story.
Sprite.
I don't know if that's a story for the show.
Are we recording yet?
Yeah,
we're recording.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we'll circle around.
I just wanted to see where we're at. So we'll just talk and do our shit. But this kid, bro. I just wanted to make sure I didn't talk too bad about somebody, But this kid, bro. So this kid, me and him go to the Spite show. Do you listen to Spite?
I think I've heard of him.
Bro, you should listen to Spite. You'll be
representing Spite, dude.
Bro, Spite cold, motherfucker. Spite cold.
Can't even read
that. I think they're coming out of. I should have worn the jersey, bro. I think they're out of the Bay Area. A lot of them are from Pleasanton.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them were from Pleasanton, grew up in Pleasanton. And then at least one of them was. And then they have this jersey, man. It's a Warriors logo, but it's all red. It says Golden State Hate. And it's with fucking, dude, it's so sick. I'll show it to you. I have a picture of it. It has
their best shirt isn't Spite, but it's the Sprite logo.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We were making jokes about them being called Sprite. And I walked in and I was like, this is meant to be.
Nobody knew the band going into the show, so they're like, Sprite? Because it was a Wage War show. So we're here to see Wage War. There's all these kids with face paint, they got eyeliner, they're doing their thing, man. It's all good. But this one kid, he comes up and it's I don't know what it is about when we go to shows. We kind of end up have just become a foster agency. And I was I talked to, because we only roll with 3 or 4 people.
We're absorbing a posse.
we'll be in a circle in line, right? And then it'll be oh, these dudes are cool. And people will be chirping from behind, and then my thing, I'll be dude, turn around. What are we doing here? Enter the circle. We're just talking. We're having a good time. This one kid does it. He just kind of inserts himself in the circle, and he's like, "Who are you guys here to see tonight?" And he's rubbing himself. "Who are you guys here to see tonight?" We're "Oh, we're gonna see Spite." And he goes, "Sprite? You're gonna see Sprite?" And we're like, "What?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, and then we're with our buddy John. He goes, Who are you? And he's like, "I'm John Sprite." And we walk in and they have a Sprite T-shirt. We're
we're done, man.
Dog. But that kid had good intentions. He was kind of just, he was a little different, but he was at the end of the day, I was sitting there. I was like, bro, Ronald Reagan shouldn't have closed those mental institutions. He had a good heart. He had a good, but he had a good heart, man. But it's just this kid might need a little more than just music, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe a little less. I don't know what he was doing.
Zach is zany though.
When he's like, do you like my... Dude, he was like this,
dog.
He was like, do you like my Ice Nine Kills tattoo? I was like...
You had an Ice Nine Kills tattoo?
Dude, yeah, he's like...
That's
cool.
Then
he had all these band logos tattooed on his arm.
I think at one time he asked me...
Hey,
I think at one time he straight up asked me, looked me in the eyes, like, have you ever heard of a band called Slipknot? I was like, oh yeah, dude.
He was 19, dog.
I think I've heard of those guys, man.
Who's Slipknot?
It was scary. They're actually like an old band now. They're actually like an old... You can even consider like a classic metal band.
The kids nowadays,
some
man,
people
that's
are
like
starting... Everyone's calling him Dad Rock now, yeah.
It's so sad.
I was like, dog, what do you think, like... I was like, you don't know what Dad Rock is.
Yeah.
Dad Rock is Stained. And everybody... Like, Dad Rock's cool sometimes. But
yeah,
like...
I like Guns N' Roses
I'm not
every
listening.
now and then. Welcome to the Jungle.
No, man, those are like classics.
Alice in Chains.
Alice in Chains.
That's
Dad
man. Dad Rock is like, I think Dad Rock has to be like mid, like
Rolling
late
Stones.
late 90s, early 2000s.
So like every time I play guitar,
no,
basically.
that's your guys' Dad Rock. I'm talking about like what people think Dad Rock is now. Like, what is it? Fucking, who was playing it today? Oh, fucking Creed. Creed is Dad Rock, bro. It's not even Christian rock. That's Dad Rock.
Yeah.
That's Dad Rock, bro. That's like the definition of Dad Rock.
Yeah.
And then Stained is pretty Dad Rock too.
Yeah.
Stained is pretty Dad Rock.
Stained's
Stained's cool though.
I like Stain.
Yeah.
Stained's cool. It's just, yeah.
Is Alice in Chains
If your
Dad Rock
dad's
now? That's
almost 50, he listens to Stained.
I was like 5 years old listening to that shit. Like, I don't know.
Classics,
Man in the
man.
Box.
Classics.
You know, I love like that period of music though. Like he makes fun of me because we're a metal band, but every time I'm jamming out and I play the drums, every time I pick up a guitar, it's always like a 1990s hit or something.
He can't play anything past 2002.
Yeah, literally.
When he picks up a stringed instrument, nothing comes past 2002.
We're
And I'm
doing like
bro.
Stone Temple Pilots, you know.
Dog,
So
and I was like,
we got
if
a running
you-
joke at practice, so we'll finish like or practice or whatever, take a break, and I'll sit down and chill. And then Chad immediately gets off the drum set and he walks over and picks up a
bass,
guitar
bro.
or a bass, and we're always like, no,
They get
stop,
so
dude.
mad at me. It's hilarious.
And he's-
I'm on his
he's
post-
He's not bad, but we just
No, he gets genuinely offended. Someone is like, you guys are shutting down
I
the
don't get
creativity.
offended.
He always says, you're shutting out the creativity.
Dude, it's bad, bro.
You're shutting out my creativity. You're trying
This
to
is my
silence my
outlet.
voice.
Okay, I'm trying to express
Like-
myself.
Last night we had a guitarist on drums and then a drummer on bass, and I was like, these is watching like two people doing the wrong job. Like they're not watching two musicians play the wrong instruments is not good.
Oh, I love
Just
that.
stop.
People are walking by the studio like, man, these guys suck.
Yeah, people are definitely walking by, and then all of a sudden we sound good.
Yeah.
all of a sudden.
For like a good
That's
20
funny.
minutes.
That's funny. What kind of music? Well, you like Korn, obviously. What do you like into though, bro?
I'm into Korn. I'm a big Korn person, but I love, all the general bands. You got like Slipknot, Metallica. You
Okay.
got, there's a list of bands I could
Go for it, man.
Like Incubus, Deftones.
Deftones is fucking dude. Chino's super cool.
Yeah,
Chino's
Deftones.
super cool. I met Chino once and he's a really cool guy. I was just trying to be
You met
chill.
everyone, bro. You met
No.
Jacoby.
I met Jacoby and I met Jacoby once. Jacoby's from like right around here,
Yeah, he's
right?
from Vacaville,
He's
yeah.
from Vacaville, bro. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Let's not go there. Let's not go there about Jacoby. But Chino's really cool. Chino's really cool. He's like really humble and like you can tell he just wants to be a normal dude. He's not in Sac all the time, but when he is, like I saw him me and my girl were having dinner, and I seen him and his girl having dinner at the same place, or this place in Old Sac, and this dude's just like, people are just bugging him, man, like just bugging him, and I'm like, oh my god, like I can't even imagine. I'm saying he gets to the point where he gets up out of the table, he goes to the bar, he puts his hoodie on, he's sitting at like the corner of the bar by the wall, and his girl's sitting here, so he's like wants to eat his food.
Yeah.
And then like I'm walk over, like I'm about to walk out, and I'm like, I look at her, and she's like, don't do it. And I'm like, I have to say something to him. You have no, that was way more than like Doyle for me. Like,
Yeah.
not fanboying, but I just went, he had to hear thank you. And I was just like, Chino, thank you. You like, I grew up on you, bro. Thank you so much. You helped me a lot. And I walked out, bro. And then like, as I'm walking out the door, it's like this old timey door. I walk out the door, I get his hand on my shoulder. I turn around, he's like standing there, and he's like, that's really cool. Thank you for not asking for a picture or anything. And I was like, that's all, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you want one? And I was
That's
like,
true.
no. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's back when he was a...
That's one thing
Left, yeah.
about like popularity and stuff. It's like sometimes you get to a certain level where it's like you go outside anywhere and you're getting bombarded. Like you just try to go shopping or you try to go out for a meal and it's just like you have everybody on you, and you're just like, hey, I'm like, sometimes you'd be like, oh hey, I'm single and I'm on a date right now, and I got everybody trying to ask me questions.
Yeah. And then people realize like why they get a bad reputation.
They're asking you like, what are you drinking?
You want to go have a drink in your hometown, and every person there knows you, and they're bugging you, and they're like, oh, this is the best moment of my life. Can I get a photo? You don't want to let those people down because you don't want to be known as an asshole, but at the same time, why can't you just go out and have a drink and be,
like it's cool to get. I think it's cool to get recognized. I think there's.
I can't relate to it. I can't relate to that.
I got recognized at the at the spot at where I work. I don't even want to mention them because they suck. Yeah, I really
you're in fire now, bro.
Fuck, I don't. I'm not. Fire me. Fuck you guys.
It's over. It's game over.
Bro, I really don't. Yeah, but so where I work, a couple of people recognized because we did like this weird. How many shows? We did like 3 shows back to back.
Yeah, like one week.
Just like 2, like last month we did back to back, right? And then somebody came in and was like, "You're that dude that screams, right?" And I was like, holding the clipboard, I was like, "Yeah,
so
yeah, bro." And he's like, "Cool, man. When's the next show?" And I was like, "I don't have anything lined up right now. I don't have anything lined up right now, but."
Yeah, we're taking a little breather from the shows. We got some really cool things in the works, though.
We need to get some stuff going, but we're
in that
summer got booked up
right?
really quick.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, so we're saying we were playing gigs. Now we're kind of phasing into that creative. Like we're writing a bunch of songs right now. Kind of make a battle.
We're trying to like get like we were always writing, right? Like we're always writing. I think that like we've been working on this one song, and we're just trying to get it like. So there's like with writing, it's like. You can get the structure going, and then like once you get to a point, like especially with these guys, they're so creative that they will, you guys, and they know this. They love to just like they'll sit on something for a month and be like, well, maybe what if I? And I'm like, I wrote to it already, dog.
Yeah, I already have the lyrics to this,
and it's good. Like how we work on it, and then I'm like, well, let's, and then it's like having that being able to communicate with each other. And not get like ups like because a lot of I've worked with other like, I had another band like 10 years ago that never went anywhere, and that was like a toxic band relationship, and people were like other than drum but fucking the drum was like you couldn't like criticize or let someone know that like this isn't for the like this doesn't sound good right here, move this part somewhere else, or you couldn't even let them know like no, maybe shelve this and think about it, you know. But like with these guys, they're like the best to work with, just in the sense of like I could. There's times where I've told them I was like, "No, that sucks, bro. Just put it up on the shelf." And then Dan will really put it on the shelf. Come back like a month later, 2 months later, and be like, "Let's do it now." And he was like, "I'm like, don't even tell me if it's an old one," and he'll just pull something out, and then be like, "Okay, that's it." And then we can work our structures, man.
It took a while, but we started a band with just me and him. He's my brother, obviously, if you can't see the resemblance. So we come from like...
Wait, but which one's younger?
Actually, yeah. Who do you think is the younger brother?
You guys look so close in age.
Yeah. People say that we look really similar. I don't really see it. I get the resemblance.
It was worse when you had longer hair. When you had, even though it was curly, when he had longer hair. But I am curious about your answer.
He's, what are you, 24?
We didn't even let him answer. I wanted to hear that.
I think you're the younger one.
Yeah,
I am.
Yeah.
I think you're the younger one because reason I'm saying that is because you asked who do you think is older.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know.
Usually, out of like
he's trying to get he's fishing.
Usually the person, it's like tell me I'm.
Well, it's like a trick. It's always a trick we'll do. Like let's say shit, man. We'll be after a show tomorrow. Like who did? And then people are drunk. And they're like, they'll just look at the beards and be like, "This guy's older." I'm like, no, dude. Like he'll have that thing in like 2 months. You've been growing that forever.
Yeah, it's like iconic with the band at this point. I don't know if I can.
Well, you even cut it down at one point. You even cut it down low when we first were working together. And then you grew it back out, and it's like, it grows out so fast. I was like, it's insane.
I mean, he just cut his hair, too, and look how long that thing's got.
It's part of our sound now, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the metal music, it
gives the
got a little hair on it,
son. It gives the reverb on the mic, man.
But yeah, basically, so we started the band. He wasn't in the band at the time. We had a different lineup, and we just completely controlled the songwriting, everything creatively. When that lineup didn't work out, we got blessed with this dude and our bass player, and then... It started off, I was worried.
Jared was first.
We met Jared first. And I was worried that these guys are going to think that we're just like taskmasters because we write a lot of the music. But right after about like 2 or 3 months, I feel like we learned how to balance that. Like,
Thanks,
you have an idea. It's not like you're telling us it's a shitty idea. You're just like, hey, I want to just do this instead. Here's my idea. We'll show up with like 75% written.
We had Jared on the pod for you, man, but he's something else. He is something else. He's something else musically. It's like
Jared's here in spirit.
Jared's here in
spirit. Jared is always there in spirit.
And we had a good feeling right away. He basically sent us a video of him sitting in his like home office of playing one of our songs. Just played it like perfect before we even met the dude. So he shows up, and the first day he already learned like our whole set.
Yeah, so we already had an EP released back in 2020 with our old bass player. We kind of started this thing in like 2018, and then the pandemic hit. We played a few shows before the pandemic, but we put an EP out, and then our bass player just out of nowhere just sent like an aggressive text message to us and just left. So it was just me and Chad for a while, just guitar and drums, and it was just kind of a weird vibe. I always wanted a front man, but I felt like it was just the hardest thing to find is a front man for a metal band. Like they kind of got to find you, that kind of thing. That's kind of what
definitely.
happened.
It has to click.
Yeah.
Because not only are you finding a person that can sing and do this, but you have to have somebody that you can have a creative balance with.
You're creating a family. You're creating a dysfunctional family, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not something you can force.
Yeah.
Even if you really, really want to do it, you got to really just make yourself available and hoping, you know.
We jammed, so me and him, how I met him, we worked together at a place that will remain unnamed. And this fool, I seen him, and like I was the manager at the time, and this fool comes in, he's a new hire, and we had him on like the curbside department, right? And I look at him, and I'm like, after like a week goes by, I'm like, I see him coming in every day. He's like, oh no, he's pretty cool. And I'm like, I walk up to you one day when you were like at the register, and I was like, you look like you listen to metal, and he was like, I love metal, and I was like,
He's probably wearing
what
that
kind
shirt.
of metal do you like? And he's started dropping bands, like dropped Slipknot. I think you dropped
Pantera.
You for sure dropped Pantera. I was like, okay, no, you dropped Pantera first. I remember, and that's where because nobody drops Pantera. Nobody drops
Really?
Pantera. No one drops Pantera out the gate unless I was like, do you play an instrument? And he's like, I play guitar. And
Exactly. And that's one thing I realized too about people that listen to Pantera, and like they're hardcore Pantera. It's like you usually play guitar.
Yeah. No, these guys
are the guitar band for metal.
Bro, these two guys are the biggest Pantera fans that you have ever met.
I fucking love Pantera, man.
I mean, there's an inspiration behind the beard.
Give him a look. Give him a look, bro.
Oh, yeah. Just like, my dad showed us when we were like little kids. We're 90s kids. And I remember just being in the car seat and just shaking, listening to like Vulgar Display of Power, Far Beyond Driven, and Korn was also on that list. Like so much good music back in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah, like Slipknot, just slow it down.
But when someone drops,
back when they were still fresh.
I love that era of music, man. Slayer.
Mm-hmm. But like we were saying, that was like when someone drops Pantera like out the gate, and I was like, do you play an instrument? He's like, I play guitar. I was like, okay. I was like, I think we just kept talking. I think I was like, oh. You know me, I'm always talking about like the next band or the newest band. I like finding stuff. And it's hard to like nowadays. Like the algorithm's so crazy that like it'll give you the same stuff. I remember back in the day, you go on YouTube and it was like similar things on the side on your laptop, and like you'd find new bands right there, right?
Even like 10 years ago.
You've really. I'd like a lot of the bands that I listen to still, or that's how I found them. And then like, so I was talking with this guy. I was like, dude, listen to Darko. Like, and it's like this which if you listen to Darko at all, it's some like if you listen to it, Darko is just like this crazy mesh of Tom Barber and Josh from Spite, formerly Amir, and it's just like he's playing the 8-string upside down.
Oh shit!
He's always played it upside down, and I was like, he's actually from I don't know if he's from there, but he went to school with some people in Sacramento that I know, and I was like, oh shoot. And it's crazy, man. You should listen to it. You should really listen to it. It's like really experimental. There's sometimes when you listen to it and you're like, the first song, second song, you're like, this is cool. And then around like the fourth or fifth, you'd be like, oh, jeez, this is a lot. But if you want to like get some shit done, listen to some Dark.
Summon the devil, basically.
Yeah, dude, it's gnarly. Yeah. It's gnarly. And it's only those two guys. Just those two guys. And Josh plays all the instruments, and then Tom does vocals.
I was going to say, too, this is why I like the chemistry of our band, because we're, like, the dad rockers, and he's the one always finding the new bands.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
You know, so, like, we'll just, like, show up, and the song might sound a little too close to Pantera or a little too close to Korn or something, and then he puts on that like new flair, like that new sound.
They tried to suggest that you said you had a riff. They'll deny it now.
Oh,
this fucking riff, man. I was like, it's Walk and the Beautiful People Cross.
I wish we had a guitar right now.
It's Walk and Beautiful People. You would agree. It's Walk and Beautiful People Cross. It's like.
Well, had a cool little bounce riff to it, kind of like Walk. So
it's like if you took Beautiful People and Walk and said, this is going to be one song.
That's amazing, right?
It's exactly
What's wrong with that. Okay. Yeah.
Sure, man.
Watch, that's going to be a big song one day.
Oh, God.
You'll give you a little magic, we'll make it work, man.
Maybe if you get a 7.
Just put it in drop G and we're fine, dude, yeah.
Yeah, whatever, man.
We're trying to work on we're working on other stuff right now, and working on other stuff with like lower tunings right now too. So seeing how that's gonna go, and then Full Metal Hippies is always gonna do what we're doing, and then just try to evolve as we're evolving. We want to be rock stars, man. That's what we want. Like it's our dream to just be able to realistically, man. I'm shooting for the stars, right? We're all shooting for the stars, but realistically, I'm sitting here like, if I can make like $60,000 a year and just quit my fucking job,
worth it.
I will do it, man. If I could just make the same living I make now, and then I'll leave. I'll leave it all, man.
We'd all make that decision, I think.
We are just gonna figure it out, man.
But the music scene right now it's weird.
It's hard.
Tough. It's tough because like it's without the support of a label, which you might not even want. We were talking about that earlier. It's like. You got to do all the work yourself, and especially as a new band with no support from the industry, you got to just work your way up, and we're starting to realize it's not writing the songs, getting the fans, it's the things like social media and producers and that back end stuff. That's where the
I want to know
part is.
where I want to know what happened where it got knocked loose to be like where what happened in the last like 2 years with Knocked Loose.
Yeah.
Where they went from like a band like they just played in Sacramento at Ace of Spades, and they were just doing a club show, and then they within months now they're at Coachella. Like how I want to know and that didn't happen. Like maybe it did happen overnight. I don't know.
It was over like 3
but I'm
years,
sitting here, but like I'm thinking like this had to be like choreographed to where it's like in the last 2 years, like you had I have all these obligations, right? They had these obligations, and then they were at I think it was I don't remember when it was, but they were at Ace of Spades, and then they played Coachella like. I thought it was like months. I was like, they were just here. Like, what happened? And then they did Bonnaroo, and now they're like, they just dropped another thing, and I was like, this is like really high production quality. Like, it's like I don't want to know what happened where these guys went from like this is a hardcore band, and like every other hardcore band we've ever known, and now they just took a jump to where it's like, is this gonna be the hardcore band that like defines hardcore now? Like, that's what's weird to me. I feel like for, like, the younger crowd...
What they're doing kind of reminds me of how Bring Me the Horizon got big.
Bro, like, but Bring Me the Horizon isn't... I'm sorry, you finish. I want to hear what you're saying. I have hot takes.
Bring Me the Horizon, like, because with Knocked Loose, they, like, played small shows, and their video production was just very underground, basement, just hard.
But the music was there.
The music was there. Yeah. And then right out, like when they got Coachella, people were just like, Knocked Loose is playing Coachella, and like then people were like making memes like
Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
Watched her set.
Yeah, and it's like, and then right after that, it was just like, whew, and then they played, and like with Bring Me the Horizon, they were big. And then they got big in early 2000s and everything, and then they had like their Healthy Medium.
Suicide Season.
Yeah, and
Sepaternal actually. Suicide Season, that was the upcoming, and then they have the There's a Hell, Believe Me, I've Seen It, Heaven, Keep It a Secret, and then Sepaternal, if I'm saying that right, was like the cusp, right?
Yeah. And then they like just stayed at the Healthy Medium, and then when they started doing bigger shows and getting bigger, they just started making music to please those fans. That's when they like. Well, it's like because it kind of like I like their music, but like their newer music compared to their old music, it's just.
We're talking about Bring Me the Horizon, right?
Yeah, it's went a little bit downhill.
Oh no, like it's without a question, and like I don't even have to say like I don't care if I've like offended, like it doesn't even matter, bro. Like fucking, bro, it doesn't
don't be controversial,
matter.
bro.
If I could see Ollie Sykes, I would be like, bro, you and me both know you did it wrong. You could have learned how to do it right, but like when they announced like we're not playing anything from the first 3 albums. Bro, like, I found out about Bring Me the Horizons on Count Your Blessings, and I was like, this is insane. And that's around, like, the Suicide Silence, Whitechapel era of, like, what defining deathcore is. Like, that, because that was, like, that was something where I heard that stuff, and I really heard it, and I was like, I had to be like 12 or 13 years old, and I started listening more, and I was like, this is, and like understanding it, and being like, I thought at the time that, like, just being a kid, like, I don't know where music is going to go from here. I don't think you can actually go heavier now. Like, it's not even possible anymore to make something sound good, like, that heavy. Because that sounds good, but you can't, like, where is...
your intention being, we want to sound the heaviest, that's different. Now it's like, about having a different taste, a different style.
It was like they were inventing a genre, man. Like, that genre didn't... Where was it before? And
it's like Knocked Loose isn't creating something completely brand new. They do have their own sound, but they're representing hardcore on the main stage. Like, they're taking an underground scene and bringing it in front of the world. And they're still
Which is crazy.
They haven't sacrificed their sound, which is what impresses me.
Not like Bring Me the Horizon.
You know what I mean?
Bring Me the Horizon completely sacrificed their sound.
But they didn't sell out. You know what I mean? Like, Knocked Loose didn't sell out.
That's my thing. Is like, I hope that Knocked Loose stays to their sound.
Yeah.
I think they will. Did you hear the new stuff?
Yes.
Dude.
Well, let me say this. That video came out 10 days ago, right? That video's like 10 days old and it already has 500,000 views. Those guys are doing amazing. And I love how they did the 2 songs mashed into one music video. Genius.
Yes, it was kind of like when they did Billy No Mates and Counting Worms.
It's honestly genius because you're saving the money. As someone, we just produced a video and it's like, shit, we could have just put another song on there. It's genius. You're already there.
Well, it's a storyline.
It's a story, yeah.
It's a storyline. Yeah. So, like, they had a storyline in mind for the video and they followed through on it. So, I thought that was really cool. And then, like, the storyline's like, it's like this chase down, like, weird vibe, fucking, like, I don't know, it's not even, like, Shining-esque, it's more like, but it kind of had, like, that, like, old-timey, like, we're at, like, what was it? It looked like an old English mansion or something. Someone wants to be on our podcast, and I was like, well, let me look. And then I looked on Instagram, I was like, dude, yeah, sure, like, we don't do stuff. And then we were talking about doing a radio thing, and I was like, well, and then he's like, well, all of 6 people will hear the radio thing.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's one thing about, like, podcasts are big as fuck now.
Yeah,
it's not even that. It's like we looked at you as a person and, like, the stuff you're doing and the stuff you're trying to do and what it seems like, and we were like, dude, like, seems like the homie, man. Seems like a cool guy. And then, like, that's the biggest thing is that, like, you can't, like, going to, like, because, like you said, going to someone's house, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, what is this? And I was like, looking, I was like, dude, he's chill. It's all gonna be good. It's all gonna be good. And I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think that, like, if fucking there's someone else I'm thinking of in my mind where if they asked me to do a podcast, I'd be like, I don't think so.
I think it's good for the scene.
I know what your room smells like.
I think right now we can use all the help we can get as a musician in the current music biz. It's tough, and I feel like you need, like, the roots, like, scene. You need people like you. You need people like us trying. We need all of us without the big industry over our heads. Like, we literally got to do everything ourselves these days. Independent.
Like one band I talked to. I don't know if you ever heard of them, called Hemorrhage.
Hemorrhage?
Yeah, we know Hemorrhage, man.
They play,
we don't know them personally, but we know them.
The band that they play, like...
Yeah.
They're
cool guys.
Yeah,
I respect that. That was cool, man.
They're hella cool dudes, and, like, what they do is, like, when they talk about everything, because they were on the Garza podcast.
Yeah.
And, like, they talk about how they're independent. Mm-hmm. They're just like, we do everything ourselves. We just drive somewhere, we park, shows are free, we get tips, we have our merch right here, audio system right here.
Genius.
They don't just drive somewhere, they know where they're driving.
Yeah.
they're right outside a big venue after a show. They're really smart.
Well, I think it's cool
when
they did, like, something I saw, they were like, so, like, because they're from the Bay, right?
Yeah.
So they did something where I was laughing hella hard because I was like, they knew it.
That's content. Like, they're way ahead of the game. Like,
they
understand the scene.
Content-wise, it's, like, for sure, they're the first one doing content. But, like, that's something Metallica did back in the day. They're taking, like, old stories and, like, we're making it again and doing it with, like, they can do it their own way, right? Because, like, my sister went to fucking R.I.P. Dimple Records. Fucking went to Dimple over on fucking in Sacramento, bro. And she's, like, there picking up, I can't remember what she was picking up, but she said she was picking something up, and she's leaving. My sister's way older than me, by the way. But she's leaving, and this fucking semi with a trailer on the back pulls up, and then the doors on the side. This is like back in like Kill 'Em All days, right? Fucking. The doors on the side just went vroom, and went up, and it was just Metallica inside. And it started playing in front of Dimple, and this is like in the 80s, right? Or
fucking, so was like the store. It was like the record store.
It's like in the parking lot. Yeah. So like it's not like they're not the first to do it, but they're definitely doing it their own way, which I have mad respect for, because we've always talked about fucking, what if we just did this? What if we just had a generator and got a U-Haul van and pulled up somewhere? And now it's like, I still want to think about doing something like that, but without being like, we're copying Hemorrhage or we're copying somebody. Just doing it.
They kind of stole it. They kind of made it their thing.
You can't steal it, man. Like, if you want to play some music somewhere, go play some music somewhere.
I mean, you got those people, like, you probably seen it before. You got people, like, when the first thing came out, this band that played at Denny's.
Yeah, bro.
The Denny's Grand Slam. Yeah,
bro. What the fuck is up, Denny's?
And they made a chain of, like, they had something.
Fucking John wants to try to play a show somewhere like that and try to make it like, I was like, dude, I don't think, he's like, no, seriously. And I was like, no, like, not seriously. Like, that was a one-off thing, man. That was just, because that band, what was that band? Who is that band?
I don't know, yeah.
What is that? And it's like, that is the band, that is the, what the fuck is up, Denny's?
I think they got some trouble.
They should be called.
They should call themselves "What the fuck is up, Danny?" He's like,
for real though.
Yeah. I've read somewhere they got like a bunch of fines too. Like the cops are like giving them tickets and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But it's worth it because people are talking about it.
It looked like it was
exactly.
You know, like
what
here, dude, just take that.
Just like Hemorrhage, bro. Like people.
What
remember
was
that the rest of their
crazy
lives.
about that?
Like
though,
that
to
shit
me,
sticks.
is that like what's crazy about the Denny's scene to me is like it looked when you really look at like the full video, not like the TikTok fucking shortened video. When you look at the full video, it's like, why was the Denny's set up for a fucking show?
Yeah, like they're in a corner and just.
Why were all the tables?
Yo,
why were the
one of those guys works there.
Did some dude work
the
there?
sound
Like,
guy
he's a
was
coach or
good.
something.
Like what?
He's
The
gonna be
sound
a
guy
coach.
had the levels right.
Yeah.
Like what? Why was the Denny's set up for a show?
It's got a built-in
Denny's
crowd,
should
dude.
fucking set up shows. Denny's would probably make more money
Now you're
than
on
set up
something.
shows.
That's an idea right there. That would see that if you go to Denny's every time there's a band playing.
Bro, fucking,
Yeah.
I'm tired of going to Denny's and seeing people get fucking stabbed. I'd rather see fucking shows.
Get stabbed in a mosh pit at least. Like, come on.
Bro, fucking
That's
Sacramento
more
Denny's
fun.
are rough.
Yeah.
Rough, my man.
I think that's something we should think about as a band too. Though, is like how do we be different? You know what I mean? Every band that's popping off right now, all these young bands like Knocked Loose. Anybody you can think off the top of your head, they're different in some way.
What Knocked Loose does
You know what I mean?
is that vocals.
and it's the way you
man.
push yourself too. It's not just your sound; it's everything you do. The way you post online, the way you handle everything is, I think, really important these days.
Yeah, and it's like speaking. By the way, speaking of band names, I want to know what got you guys to name the band Full Metal Hippies.
Oh, I think
Right,
that's
fucking
awesome.
right. You have to. You're doing this.
I mean, I came up with the name, but to be fair,
we're not all on agreement.
So it is kind of inspired. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the movie Full Metal Jacket. You do the way you post online, the way you handle everything is, I think, really important these days.
Yeah, and it's like speaking. By the way, speaking of band names, I want to know what got you guys to name the band Full Metal Hippies.
Oh, I think
Right,
that's
fucking
awesome.
right. You have to. You're doing this.
I mean, I came up with the name, but to be fair,
we're not all on agreement.
So it is kind of inspired. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the movie Full Metal Jacket. Some guy had these like homemade stickers, and one of them said it said Full Metal Hippie on the sticker that this guy had from Connecticut. He made his own merch and shit, and it just stuck with me forever. And I was like, Full Metal Hippie. So I wrote a riff called Full Metal Hippies.
Wait, is that fucking? Are you being for real right now?
I'm being for real, man. I saw it. I took this name. I took this name from a sticker I found at
How many times
Guitar
I've been
Center.
like, we might need to change this. Like this motherfucker. There's already a fucking other band.
No, it's not a band. I did a lot of research. It's not a band. It's just some dude. And it was like fucking 10 years ago I saw the sticker and it just stuck and I wrote a riff called that. But I never had a metal band. Me and Chad back in the day had a classic rock band we played in. But then it just one day we were sitting around with all these songs written and we're like, what are we going to call this shit? We need a name for this project. And I was like, Full Metal Hippies, bro. I said it. I said it. All the guys were like, yeah.
With no fucking dude. Yeah, he loved like. They love it. There was a song at one time that was just called Full Metal Hippies. There was the band name and the song.
Well, and that song predated the band. That song, we named that song Full Metal Hippies.
I don't want to say I
It's
stole
not-
it.
we
I
don't
kind
want-
of inherited it. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it wasn't. It was destiny. Because if you really think about it, like people like Full Metal Hippies and like
this is the truth, people.
we had
Anybody
this
watching, this
one
is the truth.
fucking
Fact check.
yeah. So like Full Metal Hippie is like we inherited it. He inherited it, and then it kind of fell on us, right? And it was like at first it's like, what is this, man? Like, and then what was really cool was like a lot of people we had to make sure we were careful with bookings to make sure, because at first we were getting booked with like stuff that's like this is not the scene, man. We're playing with guys that are playing, like, they're, like, I wouldn't say real, well, they're hippies, man, but it's more like the classic rock, Eric Clapton hippies, and, like, a lot of those influences, and I'm like, dad rock. And you're just like, yeah, we're not that. And so when people listen to us, we're like, what's the band called? I just had this happen today. I was showing some of the band, I was like, Full Metal Hippies, and they're like, well, what is it? And I was like, just listen to it. Yeah. And then they hear it and they're like, this is not what I thought I was about to hear.
That's what I like about you guys. It's like relating to like Korn. It's like people back then, you like hear Korn and like, what the fuck are these are banging Korn? And then you listen to it and you're like, wait a minute. Like, wait a second, this is pretty
grossest funny. Reason to name a band, by the way.
And then you guys with like Full Metal Hippies, like when I first listened to you guys, I was like, Full Metal Hippies. And like when I listened to it, I was like, I was not expecting this.
It sounds like a gimmicky name, right? It sounds like it's gonna be kind of hokey, kind of like just like.
Yeah. Well, I was expecting.
I get that a lot.
I was expecting general rock, like maybe like more like dad rock.
Yeah.
But then like you listen to it and you're like, this is heavy metal. Like this is some heavy shit.
Yeah.
And then wait till you hear the news though.
And it's like, well, if you think about it, like a metal hippie, like what's a metal hippie? You can look at the guys from Korn, and like they're kind of, when you think about what's a metal fuse with a hippie, like that's Korn, that's Pantera. These guys are fucking new age hippies with that dark metal. You know, and I'm not saying that's why we named ourselves that, but I kind of want to capture like that free love mixed with the fuck all.
There's definitely,
and it felt like when I picked the name too, it felt like it kind of fit us as people too, especially when it was just me and Chad. Really, it was like Full Metal Hippie kind of fits us, and I think still to this day, like it kind of fits us as well. So even if it kind of throws you off and you've never heard us before, I just think us as people, I think it fits.
Yeah, you got to talk about like what a hippie is, and you get down to it. Like what it comes down to is like these guys wear tie dye, but like a hippie is somebody that's like. It's not like you goddamn hippies. Like it's not like that. It's not like you goddamn hippies. I hate hippies. It's not like that. It's like
the drill into the crowd of hippies.
Right.
That was crazy, dude.
Hey hippies. It's not like that. It's like
we're not like modern like political hippies, but we're not like old school peace love hippies. The word is very loose.
Yeah.
Like Rage Against the Machine. Rage Against the Machine.
It's like we're gonna like, hey, do you know
what I mean?
Yeah, somebody's like we just had this happen like. At a show, like this kid, like we're playing up in Nevada City, and this kid goes, he's like young kid. He's like just graduated high school, and he's like, he wanted to buy a T-shirt, and he's like, I was like, it's $20, and he's like, I only have like $30. My dad says for food, and I was like, well, did you eat yet? And he's like, no, and I was like, okay, well, give me $15. You take that $20, go over there, and then I'll give you some money for food. Bring me back something, and then we can just eat. Like, it's just like stuff like that. Like, we have no problem, like, I don't know, man. Hippies is very loose.
Like, give out a T-shirt when
we had something happen.
That's a fan or something.
What was that? Someone covered it, like, what was it, Brazil or Puerto Rico or something? Or
we were featured on some podcast in Brazil. It was called the Metal Remains Podcast. Shout out to Metal Remains Podcast. Yeah. But they have a whole show, and at the very end, they do like a segment on new releases. And it was the week we dropped our song Crushing before the album came out, and they just like featured it. They had a bunch of other bands too. They had huge bands from across the world, and for some reason we were like, I think because of the Spotify algorithm, where they just popped up.
They showed up on their.
And I read the translation of what they said. It was all in Portuguese. Like, yeah, at first we thought it was some joke. We're like, what's Full Metal Hippies? This is going to be some gimmick band. They're like, but we listened to it. We thought it was some pretty heavy shit. We were surprised, and they liked the video. I was like, wow, they gave us a little shout out. It was like a 10-second long segment, but
I think the new video too, the cancel music video we just dropped was like. Anyone that watches that, anytime I show it to anybody or anytime like there's any like people go out of their way to watch it and they'll come and talk to us about it, they're always like, "Yo, like that's professional. Like that's a real music like it's not even just a real like it took that one was like I thought about it for so long. It was funny how that music video went down.
He was really the director of that too.
I thought about like everything. I had this like I wrote like a screenplay for like months. I had no idea. I was like. Somebody takes 2 steps left, right? To like doing all this.
You gotta talk about how it was such a disaster while we were filming it.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Nothing went to plan.
No, like literally, like fucking 10 minutes in, I was like, I looked into the stunt coordinators, which shout out to fucking Burrita and Julio over at Rise Kickboxing for fucking being this stunt coordinators and fight coordinators, fucking homies right there. If you want to train MMA, go over there. Fucking they. I looked at them. I was like, help me, save this. I had this dude standing. I had this dude standing on kegs in the back of this bar
with his guitar.
And I was like, it's at the end of the scene, and it was like the cut just wasn't happening. Like halfway, and I was like, it's a whole walk down scene. I was trying to do this long 1 minute cut, and I was just like, this isn't gonna work. I was like, save me, and then I walked away. I ran. I was like, they said okay. I was like, I'm gonna disappear for like an hour, and I went to my car. I cracked like 2 micheladas. It was like, oh my god, I can't do this. This is gonna be a fucking mistake. I was fucking panicking. And then the music video ended up turning out really good.
Yeah.
And it was like, all it took was like one extra shot at a tattoo shop. Where this guy and me, we got tattoos.
Yeah, shout out to our boy John. Give me a little tattoo. This is the one in the video.
Yep. So they actually got tatted.
Buzz over at Fat Cat, man. Buzz over at Fat Cat.
Tattoo.
You ever want a tattoo, man? Fucking, that's the dude. If you go with me, we'll get you hooked up.
Yeah,
Sure.
come to Saxon time, man. Come to Saxon time.
Maybe one of these days we'll have to film a vlog and go out and.
Oh yeah,
man.
man.
Hell
So
yeah,
like
bro.
100%.
We can set up with him. He's dude. I've known him forever. He's fucking allegedly. We used to allegedly fucking spray paint a lot of stuff and fucking a lot of vandalism.
Bunch of illegal shit.
A lot of vandalism, a lot of fucking growing up together and just living in Sacramento. Just go figure it out, man. You're gonna see what like a dive bar in Sacramento is really like. You're gonna get $3 beers.
Yep.
Don't hold me to that. She's gonna don't hold me to that. She's gonna decide. She's gonna decide what she's charging you. But they're gonna do. There's a limo out front. It's been in like. She was like, "Do you want to go?" When we filmed that music video, she's like, "Do you want to go in the limo?" So I did the whole song on top of that. Limo, I stood in the back and I lip sang the whole song. And
with the drone on his face, he had a drone like right there.
Yeah,
so he wasn't on the ladder. This guy was professional, showing professional equipment, which I was surprised by. Anyways, what were you saying? I didn't mean to catch you.
Oh, solid shots. No, you're good, bro.
Yeah. Solid
shots. Fucking what was I saying? I get lost.
You're standing on the limo.
We're hippies. We get lost.
So it's
used to smoke a lot of fucking weed. I still smoke weed, but I used to smoke a lot of weed, bro. I'm trying to get a better gig right now, right? So I'm not smoking at the moment, but it's like getting like spaced out.
It's Sacramento. I mean, we just have a cloud of weed smoke in the entire city. So you just
we were talking about So like you go to on the Y road, it's just like it's the most and so. We played on the Y. That was the first show with the full band together, and we played a couple other shows there. And it's like, so when you're in a metal band, right, or in a anything that is just gonna, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna stand on the limo. She's like, well, do you want to get in the limo? I was like, not really. She goes, yeah, you don't want to be in that limo. And I'm like, why would you offer?
I heard stories about that limo.
Dude, she goes, there was a homeless lady passed out and took a shit in there. And then there was a porn filmed in there, in the limo, and I was like, I really hope none of this happened at the same time. Yeah. Like, I really hope there wasn't, like, what are you fucking talking about, you know? Like, it was just like, I was waiting for you, bro. I was like, did that just miss? I was like, there's no way that just missed. I was like, bro, yeah, fucking, a homeless lady shot in the limo, and then apparently she goes, an adult film was filmed in the limo, and I was like,
ew.
At the same time? Like,
every limo has a backstory.
And I was like,
every limo has a backstory, dude.
Yeah, but so these guys let us take full control of the venue.
Oh yeah, we took full control.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
they
were super cool.
Yeah, super awesome.
Very Sacramento.
Definitely support them. If you want to go play pool and just have like a real, like everyone says, oh, I'm trying to make it. Like people try to make a dive bar now. People like tear stuff down and try to they'll build it back up and try to make it have a dive bar vibe. And I'm like, no, just go to a real dive bar where like these Christmas lights might be a fire hazard.
Yeah.
They'll never get taken down.
Bands need like easy venues to just step into, especially if you're a brand new band or a young band like us. You can't always deal with these like, medium to big size clubs where they have national acts, you gotta sell pre-sales. It's a lot of pressure. A lot of these bands have no music out yet, not a lot of following. Like you need a bar where you can just walk into, invite your homies and just play a set.
Yeah.
And that's kinda how we started off, even before we had Colt. And even once we had our current lineup start, like that's how we built our sound. And that's how you like learn, what songs are good, what isn't good. Like how do I play in front of people live as opposed to in the practice room with the boys? It's way different vibes. So I think having like little dive bars like that just feels comfortable. Kind of like how we are here right now, just chilling. It's that same kind of vibe. It's just your close friends out in the crowd. It's not a huge show. It's not ticket sales and bullshit. You're just having fun,
If you can play in front of your friends, you can play in front of anybody.
Yeah.
Because I think like the biggest thing with our first show was that like, I was so nervous because you hit up your friends and you're like, bro, I suck. I mess up.
Yep.
I'm never gonna live this. It's like you're never gonna live it down, man. They're gonna remember, and they're gonna remember that, and there's like, damn, like he gave it, like, wow, you know. But luckily, I stood in one spot with my legs shaking, I was like, I have to pee so bad, and then fucking my leg was just shaking, and I was like, I'm just gonna stand right here. I'm gonna prop my leg up, and I'm just gonna perform. And that was, luckily, we hit everything pretty good on that first show. And now our set has evolved so much to where it's like, we're at the point now where it's like, this is the best set we've ever played, and it's the tightest it's ever played. We can play it at any moment in time.
You're jumping in the mosh pit now and shit.
Yeah. It's like, and so if you can do it in front of your friends and people that you're close with, that is the most scary thing at first. And then, really, it's like, especially if it's your first show. Like I think that's like the biggest thing, because then
it's a good test.
You play somewhere where you don't know anybody, and that it's yours. It's yours now. You can be the front man. We went and played a Nevada City. Shout out to Ryball Brewing. Fucking
Ryball
Brewing. If you haven't been up there, bro, that's one of the best venues. It reminds me of Old Boardwalk.
It's fucking gem, dude. It's a gem.
It's really
in the middle
good.
of nowhere.
It's really good. If you have no idea why it's that good, but it's like, everybody there the crowd gives you 150%.
Guaranteed.
They're right. They're screaming. They're like, "What do you guys want?" And they're screaming at you. Wall of Death!
Oh, they're all like 17, 18, 19-year-olds fighting, and
then their parents are with them, bro. It's crazy.
Great. I love it. I love seeing the young people getting nuts. Like we're like controlling their brains. We're like corrupting these people.
It's a built-in crowd too, man. For any bands listening, Nevada City, Brewing, that's where you want to play, man. You gotta go see a show this time, bro. Just the atmosphere, the vibe.
Yeah.
Such a cool place, dude. It's such a cool place.
But it's a small town, so like everyone knows everyone. It's cool, man.
It's really cool because you go up there and they're like, we've been waiting for you.
Yeah.
Like,
well, we have fans we have actual fans out there, and it's so far.
Yeah, it's hard to believe because
which is weird.
We don't really think of ourselves as the band that has like fans and like people that pay to come see us. It's what we do for fun, you know. Like it's like our escape from like our day jobs and shit. But when we go up there, people remember us from that time we played there last year. Like, oh, dude, I checked out you guys on Spotify.
Hey, it's possible to do this.
Can't wait to see. I'm like, holy shit, you guys came here to see us. We're not used to that still. It feels weird.
Yeah. Like I've talked to bands and it's like, I've told them about my podcast, what I'm trying to do. We've sat there and bullshit for hours. And then, like, they'll be like, and I'll be telling them, like, yeah, it's just so slow right now, getting in contact with bands and stuff like that. And they're like, enjoy this moment.
Yeah.
Enjoy this moment. Because there may be a day where you're going to have too many bands hitting you up. And you're going to have bands that you're so small, but you're like, I have a bigger band that I can do. And you're just like, that's where you get into a place where it's like, okay, I have a lot of stuff I can do right now. Mm-hmm. You're at a place right now where you get to ease yourself in. You get to do it when you want. You get to have it when you want. And it's like, and I was like,
you can shape whatever you want to do.
For you, that's
a cool way to look at it.
In fact, I was
for the podcast, you're gonna be like, dude, the format's really good. So I think that like
it is.
You're gonna be sitting on something right here where it's gonna be like, cool, man. We were like the second pod, cool.
Yeah.
I will say though, I had a conversation with these guys earlier. It's really similar to what you said. A lot of famous bands, especially like musicians that I consider role models, they say they missed that moment where they were just clubbing and they were playing in front of 100 people, 200 people a night. You know, and these are bands playing in front of festival crowds, going on tour, and they say they hate the stress. They miss it when it was just day to day. You're in the community. You're working with the people one on one. That's what people miss when they get big and famous. And it's the same thing with everyone in this industry. It's like the roots.
Sometimes I can think that and I can hear where they're coming from. Yeah. But at the same exact time, I'm like, that's all we're chasing right now. Like we're like that's like you.
Not to take away from that.
I think some people not to take away from that. It's like I just miss and I'm like, dude, like you. Like some people get the crown and they don't want it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People get it, but at the same time, like I think that if we we're gonna get the crown and like we're gonna wear that shit. Like we've wanted this for so long. Yeah. It's all of our dreams. I stopped playing music for almost 10 years before I met these guys. I always like screamed in the car and yelled in the car. And I was like, oh, I still got it. And then it was like. I jammed with them, and I reached a point in my life where I needed something else. And I was like, I reached a breaking point where I was like, I was just at a really bad spot, man. I was at a really bad spot, and I was like, either there's a spot where I'm going to make a really bad decision, or I'm going to join a band. Like I even told my wife, I was like, I need this right now. Like I need this. So, and she was like, anyone that is like a spouse of a musician, man, like is a real, like, they're a giant influence and a support pillar for them, because it is hard doing what we do, and then it's also hard just like on the other end of it. Like they have to, like they have to believe, and they have to also say, like they also have to like do everything that is like when you're like, I gotta go play a show, and they just have to be like,
put up with your craziness.
Go kill it. They're just like, go kill it, and they motivate you instead of not being like, not even just being like, okay. It's more, they have to be like, you're gonna do great.
Do it.
And that's like the thing, that's like real, like that's how you know you got somebody that's like good, you know?
And that's one thing, it's like with this or like a show, is like, I do this and it's like, people are like, you just want to just film yourself meeting bands? It's like, no, I'm about the story.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I am. I love the story. Like I go to a show and just like, you meet people and are like, yeah, this crazy shit just happened over here. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? What happened? And just like, this person got knocked the fuck out. And you're like, oh shit, really? And they're like, are you just
What
like,
did he say?
Yeah.
What did he do? What, was there a comeback?
But it's like,
how'd it go down?
With bands and stuff, it's like you talk to them, they have the awesomest stories. You're just
crazy
like,
lives, man, yeah.
Yeah, because you're just like, you talk to them and you're like, that's
Life's
why
a
I do
movie.
this. It's like, people can come here and like look and be like, oh shit, I've been listening to them. I didn't know this about them.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
I love that feeling, yeah.
And like also, you can like listen to people and be like, I can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what makes a band big. It's not even like really the music or the image. It's how does it make you feel.
I always
Well,
say
it's
that.
cool
when
with-
you. It's just like movies.
What's cool is
TV.
identifying though, like he's saying, like the identifying factor is like, especially when like it comes to like lyrics and stuff, it's like how many times I feel like, especially like having like growing up, right, like a band like that is really influential for me is the Ghost Inside, like listening to what Virgil has to say, man, you're just like, bro, like this is like something like, and even some of the early Bring Me Horizon stuff, it like you're like making somebody like. All these guys reached me, some kid from Sacramento, and he's from England. Like, he's from Britain or whatever. I don't know where he's from. He's just fucking English. But he's a fucking English dude with a rose tattoo on his neck. But bro, Suicide Season, like, I had lost somebody in my life at that time when that album came out. I lost somebody, and that fucking album, like, that song, bro, Suicide Season, I was like, I would travel my way to heaven, our tears would show the way. Or if sorrow could build a staircase, our tears would show the way. I would climb my way to heaven to bring you home again. Like something like that brings you like, wait, like, and you're just like, I remember the first time I heard it, I was like,
You can't fake that.
it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I was sitting in like my fucking twin bed as like a fucking 15-year-old, and was just like, oh my god. Okay, let me go look at this urn really quick. Like,
I can relate to that
dude,
too.
yeah, music it speaks to
Yeah.
people, and it can reach people, and identifying with them and getting people through things, and knowing that you're not alone in something, even if it's something different, it meant something to you at that time, you know.
And one of my biggest role models is like my mom, because my mom always went to shows with me. Like when I was 11 years old, we started going to shows.
Badass.
That's
And
so cool.
like my first show was Aftershock.
Damn.
That's a cool mom.
Bro, and you got the after
And I got Aftershock.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it's like
One of the best shows I've ever been to.
her, when like, cause she last year in February, she passed away.
I'm sorry, man.
And after she passed away, I was kind of lost, because she was my role model, and like she was my concert buddy. Like I didn't even see her as a mom when I was at a show. I was at a show and she was like my buddy. Like she would go to she was a short girl too. She was like 5'2", 5'3", and she'd just be chilling at the front of like a Slipknot show and just like
The mosh pit in the back.
Yeah,
nuts,
she's like, and I'd be like,
She
you
was a
good?
trooper. She was right there in the
And
crowd,
I'd be like, you good? And she's like, yeah, I'm good.
Sorry, side note,
amazing.
Slipknot shows are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've all been to
There's
Slipknot shows.
there's no fucking pit harder than fucking if they play when they play Heretic Anthem, and if they play Heretic Anthem, you better be ready.
Rest in peace,
Yeah.
Joey Jordison.
So,
that
alright,
guy.
so bro,
Yeah.
Fucking A, dude.
I'm sorry to hear about your mom, man. Condolences, though. I was talking about a similar thing.
Yeah, it's like, because it's like, I lost her, and it's like I was like trying to find myself because like I think it was a few months before that I dropped out of college because I was an honor student in college doing nursing, and I just found out it's like I just felt like I didn't like it anymore, and it's like I didn't want to just stay. I didn't want to stay there just because I was doing good and I knew what I was doing. I wanted to do something I wanted.
Were you unhappy?
I was unhappy.
Yeah, dude, you got to get out when it's unhappy. Like when you're unhappy doing something, it's time to get out. Yeah. And that's like you're finding yourself like that, and like especially with like what you were going through at the time and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like something that is like it amplifies that like, hey man, life is short, dog. Life is
why waste
short.
Your time, right?
Life is short, dog. Like the person I'm talking about was a mother figure in my life as well, and it was it's hard, man. It's hard. So I'm there with you. It's fucking strange actually. I'm gonna just be completely honest and real about it. It's strange because. You guys, I don't know, man. I don't want to talk about your guys' business, but the fact that we're all in this room right now.
Yeah, because we lost our mother too. Is what he's trying to
I don't want to talk about your business, but like it's strange that we're all in this room and have this thing, man. We have this thing that we deal with, and we don't. We have this thing that we deal with, and it makes us.
The music is what keeps us alive, and the music is what keeps us fucking going. And that's also why.
Like, I feel like with all of us relating that, it's like music was just like it's an outlet. And it's like when like you lose something and you're just like you start looking at your life and you're like, what do I really want to do? Because this person left and like either they did what they wanted to do or they didn't do what they want to do, and you're like, I want to live my life to the fullest.
Use your time wisely. Like don't waste your time. You know.
Yeah, and it's like
if music makes you feel good. That's what you need.
Yeah, and like you do that, and then like some people will go, well, I want to travel, or I want to do show. I want to make music, or I want to do a podcast, or
then the next day you should fucking go and do that.
The thing, man, but
they don't do it.
That's life sometimes.
Yeah, because like
if you lose something, you can gain something. You know, it can give you a different outlook on something. It can inspire you to chase a dream that you might not have wanted to chase. You know, if something really bad happens to you, it can be a blessing in disguise.
Exactly.
It can always be tragic, but it's one of those things where music is pliable to any situation. Yeah. So a really, really bad time in your life can be the best time to capture how you feel. Write some music. Chase that fucking dream because you're not getting any younger.
Yeah,
it's one of those things.
You know that like that.
You gotta deal with that shit, man. You gotta deal with it somehow, and like we deal with it the music route, and it's like something like it said. It's something. There's gonna be times when you're like, There's days when you're like, maybe it's less there, and there's days when it can be not there for a long time, and then you're like, June comes around for me, and I'm like. You'd be doing a birthday right now normally. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe thinking about Christmas comes around. Christmas is hard for people that have lost people.
Exactly.
Christmas is hard.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, Christmas is hard, but I'm talking more like when I'm like, it's for me. It's like I'm like I said, June comes around.
Kids and stuff, and like the last show ticket she ever got me, I had to go to a month after she passed.
Oof.
And it was chaos. It was the Chaos and Carnage show at Ace of Spades with Suicide Silence and Lorna Shore and all of them.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, but what's great is like everyone's like, you're gonna go to that show, and I was like, this is my mom's gift to me. I'm gonna go to this fucking show.
Fuck yeah.
What a wild set to see.
Yeah,
where
those
she's
bands
like,
are crazy.
go see.
In honor of your mom, you're gonna see a crazy show, dude.
What a wild set. Did you enjoy yourself?
I enjoy myself great because also it's like I went to that show and I met a couple of the bands and they were able, and I talked to them about it, and they were like, and they were able to talk to me and we were able to conversate about it, and they loved it. And like I talked to Chris Garza when I was there.
The man, dude.
And
the man.
I've met him multiple times. First time I met him was at Aftershock, and he's met my mom and stuff. And last time me and my mom both saw him was in LA, and that was legit a week before she passed. And then when I went to that show and I saw him again, and he was like, "Oh, what's up, Chris?" And I was like, "Hey man, yeah, blah 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 blah." And then I told him, and he was like, "Holy shit, really?" And that's why I like especially Chris Garza. Shout out to Garza.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
It's like bands.
He remembered, dog. Like he remembered you and was like, "Dude, he's so cool." What are you saying? The bands.
Yeah.
Shout out to Garza. Bands, dude.
It's bands like when they like talk to like you have certain bands that like they talk to their fans and you're just like, okay, yeah, that's cool, whatever. And then like you have those bands that are like they talk to your fans and then you're just, but they
on like that has a large impact sometimes, and like I met Suicide Silence for like a brief moment at like a Warped Tour one time. They're doing a signing after which rest in peace to Mitch, man. That dude, like that show was like I saw fucking. It was after the No Time to Bleed album came out. Bruh, they did Disengage, and I was just like, oh my god, like this band is so good. Like he never ever like I don't know if there was any track at all. It was very minimal, and he just made sure that he was gonna give like 100% is not even fucking worth saying what Mitch was doing out there, and I'm like he's doing it on Warped. Like Warped Tour is like notorious for being the hardest touring schedule because you're just especially for like distorted vocals every other day. Granted, they give you the tour bus, but it's like
Warped Tour, though,
I would do it. Dude, that's like my dream, like to play Warped. Like if Warped ever comes back,
they should come back.
Get up on Warped Tour, headline Warped Tour. That's the dream, man. That is the dream because that's how you know when you headline Warped Tour, you did something. You did something really big. Look at all the bands that headline: Sum 41, like 182, Dropkick Murphys, A Day to Remember, fucking. I
saw Chelsea Grin there.
I saw Acacia Strain one year there.
Crazy.
Acacia Strain is fucking epic live, man. See Acacia Strain for sure. You think that's going to be the meanest pit you've ever been in? Absolutely, Acacia Strain. That or Spite.
You guys gonna go to Aftershock this year? And you guys?
Man, I really want
to
go.
haven't bought tickets. Yeah. I haven't bought tickets yet. I went last year. Did you end up? No, you.
I've been there like 4 times.
I went last year. I bought tickets last year because I needed to see Slipknot.
We got it for free last year.
I never. I think that like anytime you see if you have a chance to see Slipknot in 2022, now 2023, you don't know how. My mindset was like, I saw them after the All Hope Is Gone tour. Yeah. Sacramento was the last location on the All Hope Is Gone tour. It was the closing show of the tour. And I remember I saw them on the venue, or on the set list, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to see Slipknot again. I don't know. If I put it off this time, I don't know when I'm going to see them again.
Exactly.
And I don't know, they're not trying to say like they're going to stop or anything, but I just don't know when that's going to happen. And I want to see them right now, because the stuff that they do, especially Corey and Mick and Sean, bro, it's like you just know, like, bro, it's taking a toll. It has to take its toll, man.
Yeah.
And then it's like Corey's gonna go down as one of the best, if not the best, metal vocalist of all time for his longevity and how long he's gone.
Exactly.
Like, it's like
who doesn't like Corey Taylor?
Who comes out and does?
He's a freaking Bell Rock.
Bro, I don't know how old he is now. I know he's up there, but I was just like,
he's in a different league though. Like guys like him, Randy Blythe, Jonathan Davis, like these dudes that can keep this unique sound from their prime until their 40s and 50s. Like that's
I think
different.
when we say that in that argument though, obviously Randy Blythe, maybe John. I'm like, yeah, he's good, but like when you look at like recording quality comparatively to like live quality, like. Corey came out and did Heretic Anthem at Aftershock last year, and I was like, bruh, he's like 50 up there doing that. Like, that's
let me
and it's the perfect, he's hitting the perfect vocals.
Let me defend Korn for a second, though. So I saw the tour where Korn opened up for Slipknot, and when Korn played their set, it was the first time I ever saw them live. They completely blew Slipknot out of the water. And it was when they got Ray Luzier. They had him for about like 4 or 5 years. It was like 2012, 2013. These guys came out, and they played better than the record. Korn was so insanely good live. And I didn't even realize, I think it really came down to having Ray in the band completely just transformed them.
Yeah.
And then Slipknot came on afterwards, amazing show. They had their new drummer Jay, who's also amazing. But man, it's something about Korn, and they've been around longer. And he's talking about Corey doing this for decades. Jonathan Davis has been doing it for like 20 years, even longer.
Exactly.
And this guy's crazy. Like,
true.
If I could ever recommend a band for people to see live, it's gonna be Korn. Every time.
One thing I like about JD, like about Jonathan Davis, is like when he does like meets his fans and stuff, he makes it experience but he makes sure he has his music life separated from his personal very well.
Yeah, because he's a man of darkness. He's been through a lot of shit, and he knows that he helps people. You know, like,
yeah, he doesn't really post much.
No.
And like he takes care of his kids, and he takes care of and he has his new lady now, and it's like, and he seems happier, especially after his
the whole thing happened.
Yeah, and it's like all the shit he's been through, and it's like you had Fieldy's not in right now, Head left and he came back.
They lost Dave.
They lost David, and it's like Monkey and Jonathan Davis have just and like Monkey always was chill. He just stayed out of it, but
Monkey was a blessing for John, but
yeah, but like Jonathan Davis, he just like. He stuck through it all.
Yeah, man.
He didn't care.
You can't do a Korn show without Jonathan Davis.
Exactly.
You can't call it Korn without him. Otherwise, I would fight about that.
People do not give that band enough credit, man. That band is incredible, and like I love Pantera, I love Slipknot. I saw Korn live. Still, probably my favorite show I've ever seen ever. It was at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut, where we're from. And that show, I swear to God, Slipknot played right afterwards, and amazing band. But the amount of tightness with Ray on the drums. As a drummer, and I know you're a huge Korn fan, Ray's probably one of the best drummers right now.
Yeah.
He's like top 5 for most people.
And it's like...
but Jonathan Davis is like, I think he's probably the best frontman right now.
But like...
These metal bands.
Especially with like when his wife passed and like he did the Follow the Leader tour and stuff, and then he was just like... And then he was like, I need to take a break for a second. Yeah. But he didn't take a break and then just stop music. He took a break and then did his solo music, and then
I saw that in Aftershock.
Yeah, he did his solo music, and then was like, I'm gonna go on tour and do what I just want to do.
Yeah, and the guy with the cello, and they had Ray there as well.
Yeah,
that was actually a really good show.
Yeah.
I still prefer Korn, obviously, because when they came back and they did like that whole new album, I really love their new sound, man.
I'm not too crazy about his solo album and stuff, but the fact that he's so dedicated to music that he took a break from Korn for a second just to create an album and then just do one tour and then go back to Korn.
Exactly. It was like it was a transitioning moment for him. And then when Korn came back with their new music, like that song "Never Find Me" and like just like that whole album, it was dark but it still brought you back to that first Korn album.
Yeah.
Or brought you back to like take a look in the mirror, you know, like.
Yeah, when they came out with the Nothing, and like after he came back, it was like the first like the intro to the song when he like all you hear is the bagpipes.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute.
Just bring me back, bro.
Like yeah, it was for like you're bringing it back, and like I think I forgot what song it was, and he just he hits that, and he's just like you're like wait a minute.
Shoots and Ladders, is that the?
No, he does it in one of the Nothing
songs?
album. Yeah.
Because I know he always and we were talking about this earlier with like bands that don't play their classics. You have to play your classics. But a band like Korn that can make this new music that holds up, that's just another reason why they're so freaking good.
Yeah.
Korn is beyond. I'm sorry, I'm just jumping in now.
Yeah,
but Korn is like, you talk to Garza, right? Korn is like influential to the point of like, bro, like so influential to the point where you like did nu metal. And then inspired deathcore somehow because like I was saying earlier, that sound never existed. Never existed. Where
they weren't nu metal. They were nu metal.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like deathcore wasn't called deathcore either until like somebody was like, "What is this shit, man?"
Like nu metal was Korn. There was one band responsible for nu metal. That's Korn.
That's one thing. It's like now that like with like bands and stuff, it's like you don't even get to pick your genre now. The fans and the critics pick it for you.
Yep,
exactly.
And it's like that's why Jonathan Davis at the beginning when he started getting they called them Korn nu metal. He got mad about it. He was like, "We're not nu metal. What are you talking about?"
No, we're like evil disco rock.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going on, man? Like even metal, with like our so we have the Full Metal Hippies project and we have this other thing we're working on, and it's like. Nobody's going in any direction of trying to like. I do want to ask you and see what like because you guys are the ones that define it, man. It's like I don't think you can act like what is Full Metal Hippies, man? Like what is it? Like we don't write music to try to. We're not trying to like sound like something or be like we want to do a hardcore project or like there's some influences, but it's like what are we gonna do? We're gonna write music. We're gonna write music and we're gonna see if it sounds good.
Exactly. But the thing is, you guys are doing it. You're trying to do something different, but you want it with your guys' own spliff to it. You guys want your own spliff, and that's what music is. It's just like you guys you don't want to go into making music and just being like, okay, what would the fans like?
Yeah.
You got to be like...
I think there's a certain aspect of that, just a small amount, to be like...
The small amount of it, but it's like...
But it's like, we're making music to make music sound good.
Exactly.
And that's how you keep yourself from being a boring generic band. Because bands will do that, and they will get some success, but then they're forgotten.
What's really fun, like Suicide Silence, for example, like at first it was like I think at the end of the day I was listening to some more. I listened to the Garza podcast too, and was like, as I hear him talk about Mitch more and more, it's like you kind of realize that Mitch was like the orchestrator, to where it was like they didn't know what they were doing. Like I watched the one with the original members, and I was like. Mitch would just be like, do this thing, do that thing, do this thing. And then it was like, but they were all kind of like, at first it was like, we're just going to play a 7-string and try to kind of sound like Korn.
Yeah, let the consumer figure out what genre
But they never, I don't think you can try to sound like anybody. Once you try to sound like somebody, it's very apparent and it's very knockoff. Dude, we could be knock off, knock loose any day of the week. It'd be
my biggest fear is one of our biggest influences. Me and Chad, our biggest influence is definitely Pantera on the metal side, and I'm always scared that people think of us as like a generic Pantera because we get that comparison. Not all the time, but a good amount of people are like, man, I hear a lot of Pantera in your guys' sound.
Yeah, we had to break that. We had to break that.
I want people to just kind of enjoy it for what it is instead of like connecting it to another band. That's
it's a heavy influence on you, man, and like that's what we had talked about. This.
It comes out subconsciously. I think.
I think so too, and that's what we had talked about. Like we've talked about this in writing, even with the Pantera associations, but like, and it just having to be brutally honest and blunt, and like because
that's his job. Don't say
they told me. They said they told me be a dick, because we don't care if you say it sucks. Like they just be. Let us know and be upfront about it. I was like, okay, you asked for this. And there's a lot of times he'll bring something to the table, or there was times in the early phases before the Liquid Attitude EP dropped, we were looking at a couple songs that we're deciding what to do, and there was times where it was like, I'm writing this thing, and I'm like, well, do you want to be Dime? Are you trying? Do you want to? I was like, do you want to dye the beard red now? What are you doing? Because you can't. And then like I said earlier, just being able to take that type of they asked for it and take that type of criticism and know that it's not hurtful or anything, and then just move forward from it. Because I really wish Cancel and Crushing, the 2 music videos we have out now, were the first 2 songs we wrote once the full band was there. And I think that even now, if you come to one of our shows, you hear you'll hear some of the stuff on Liquid Attitude. Which I think there's good stuff there, man. I think there's really good stuff there. I think that even now, though, looking, because it took us so long to do it, by the time Liquid Attitude released, and we planned it so, strategically, and we're going to do this drop on this time, we're going to promote it really hard, get the right artwork, did, this whole AI-generated thing, and I think the amount of time that went into that, it was about, once Liquid Attitude dropped, we were sitting there this is old. This feels old. Because we already had 4 new songs.
Old to us, not to everybody else.
Not to everybody else, but we felt we already have 4 new songs lined up that are
nobody's heard it, but we're oh man, we're burnt out on this shit already.
Yeah, I feel that too.
Yeah, sometimes the new stuff, man, fucking is on another level. It's on a completely different level of it sounds like Full Metal Hippies, but at the same time you're just this is Full Metal Hippies, but we just got way heavier and at the same time groovier. Fucking, there's stuff in there that I think Born Miserable, man. You're gonna if I could show, I wish I could show you that song right now on a mastered level, because I don't think anything sounds like that right now. I don't think anything sounds like some of the new Full Metal Hippies we have. I don't think anything has in the past. I think that you could look at it and be there's some influences here, but you're not going to be able to really say that anything sounds like that song. You're not going to be able to be they ripped this from that, they ripped this from that. You're just not going to.
Yeah, I know I'm only one person saying this, but when I listen to your stuff, I couldn't really, when I started listening to it, I didn't think of anybody else. I legit listened to it and I was only thing that went through my head, I was this is some good shit.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, dude, hell yeah.
Appreciate that.
Because really it's very primal music. Our writing process is very just grinded out on the spot. We don't sit in our rooms and write out the notes. We show up and we throw something together. He's a very powerful energy in the room. He helps us kind of complete it. It's not something that we're meticulous about. We're just pulling it out. You know, like we're just trying to mash it together.
We pull it out.
We really want to sound like.
So like any band that says like I don't know how we could write like. I don't think like there's some bands you hear about and they're like, oh, we wrote stuff like in separate like parts of the country and
or you transposed it.
We're
in your
sending
office
stuff
or something.
and like figuring out and like communicating that way. I don't think that like I think we could do it, but I don't think it's like anything we would particularly enjoy. Like we really enjoy off of thriving off each other and being like, stop!
Yeah, being vocal.
Stop.
We're very vocal.
Do that now.
Yeah.
Repeat it 8 times. What do you mean? Like it's and then other bands are like we can't write in the same room. Like we don't have to, but we really love writing.
We've invited our friends
same
over.
room.
We've invited our friends over during our writing process, and they're like, "Are you guys like having a fight right now? Should I leave them?" We're
Dude,
like, "No,
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
dude,
normal.
for real.
This is how we do it.
This is how we
our-
talk.
Especially
this is the
these
process."
It's like this. We're always talking over each other, trying to get a word in.
We're from New England, you know, and it's
Every
like
time.
we're a little
She
intense,
knows.
and he gets it. He's great, and it's like people are just like, "What's wrong with you guys? You guys are pissed at each other," and it's like, no,
That's
this is
like
how we
one
do
thing.
it.
I was
It gets
like,
heated.
I feel like we're gonna start talking.
Me and Chad
Because
get heated. We're
I
brothers.
hear everything they're saying while I'm talking, and it's like it's crazy.
Yeah, I guess.
I think we all just kind of have like a bit of ADHD or something, but we're just like,
Yep.
for sure.
dude, there's times we'll like write, and it's just crazy, man.
Full Metal attention span for sure.
Dude, yeah, and it's like, and then we'll be like, no, shut the, and then these two go, the closest I've ever seen you guys to like, you guys were actually mad. I remember I had to be like, I told you, I was like, just go outside, take a piss, you fucking chill here, and then I sat there, and
Smoke some
because
weed,
they
take a walk.
and I was like, we're taking a fucking 15-minute break, because I was like, and Jared was there too, and we were like, and then Jared's like, what the fuck's going on, and I was like, we had to tell you guys, I was like, you guys are doing brother shit right now in front of us. You guys are doing brother shit right now in front of us. I was
See,
like,
but he's my best friend, and he's also my best friend, and Jared's one of my family.
you know how brother
and
shit
my band's
goes,
my
man.
family, you know.
You'll say some shit to your
Yeah.
brother in front of other people, and they're like, why is he being so mean?
And that's the thing, like where we come from, in the East Coast, you could be a complete dick, and people listening from the East Coast, you can agree with me. You could be a complete dick to your loved ones, and it's normal.
They would never.
You're fine.
I disagree.
You're fine.
They were going back and forth for like 30 minutes. He's like, well, if you could just play on time, and he's like, well, you know how to play the fucking riff.
Shit, dude.
But,
And we're just me
me
and
Who's
the
a fuck if
most
you're
on the
not?
grill for Pantera. And like, if I want to know who's cooking the most on the grill,
We should
I wanna
steal
know-
that gimmick.
Vinnie Paul,
We should
the
be the
drummer.
I don't
Right
even
now,
want to
the
steal it,
drummer
dog.
was.
I've always loved cooking for
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
but it's a
yeah.
matter of like I just want to know who is cooking the most and who like cooked the best. You know
I
what
can
I
answer that
think?
question.
A lot of people will probably go dime.
Vinny Paul.
I was just gonna. You know what? I think Vinny
Anybody
probably
watching
cooks
Help
a.
Full Metal Hippies Fund our
I think
first
Vinny
cookout.
cooks a mean.
We're gonna do a cookout at a show.
Let's do a
dude.
cookout.
I think
That'd be
fucking
awesome as
Vinny
fuck.
cooks
Yeah,
a
dude.
mean
Really,
burger.
really.
Vinny has a cooking
Dude,
mean
let's do a
burger, bro.
cookout.
I like that
Let's
idea.
get a few bands
It's all about
together.
timing.
Let's do a cookout.
We'll call you Dan Bagdero, bro.
We're never.
I like Dan Halen a little
We're
bit.
never
Dan
gonna
Halen,
fucking
okay,
do
Dan
that.
Halen, bro.
We're never gonna do that.
Yeah, but Chris, bro.
We're trying to
You're
write a
awesome,
fucking
dude.
better-
Thanks for having us, man.
It's trying to break away from the Pantera. Like people really think that we sound like Pantera sometimes, and I'm like.
Do we really though?
I'm like, well, there's the influence. A lot of the earlier stuff, I think the influence is very heavy. And I
Yeah.
think that like
Yeah.
now, like as of us all being together and just working as a band, like they know like with some things that I'm going for, stuff Jared's going for, and then we know what you're going for. Like we can just communicate very well to be like, I don't think that's gonna work right now. I think it's like too much this way or too much that way. Let's try it another way. And nobody gets butthurt. Nobody gets fucking like, nobody, or like, how? And it's like, well, it just does. I was like, okay. Got it.
Because me and Dan, like,
Your lyrics are like one-dimensional right now. Your timing is like you're going, it's the same timing the whole time, try to switch it up, and I'm like, okay. Got you.
see, that's why you need
I
a
hear what
melting
you're
pot.
saying.
You need to have different people in a. You can't just have one or two people in the band making all the decisions. I think it's the best if everyone can contribute.
I don't think anyone can stick to like, no, this is what's happening.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Even if
Yeah.
like you
Everybody
have
gets a say in the process.
Like,
Like dad put together,
and
piece it
put
together,
together, yeah.
help write it. Where now, if I bring a riff to the table, like everybody's gonna.
he
chime
knows
in.
it could be fucking
We
good
could-
or it could not be, you know.
But just I want to make sure the whole band's involved.
That's one thing.
Every
It's like
song.
I noticed, like you guys just chilling here and talking and everything. It's like you guys are brothers, but at the same time, he's talking to you guys like a brother.
He's my brother, man.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we're
You know
brothers.
what?
We
He's my
established
brother.
this.
You're
Yeah,
a
he's my
brother too,
brother.
man.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
But yeah,
Yeah, honestly, that's what
You're
I about the scene is
bro.
like.
You're the fucking homie, man.
Like
You're
the
the
homie.
music scene is really like a family, bro, and like that's why I love seeing what you're doing because it's just what we're doing.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
We're growing from literally taking just nothing and creating something, you know, and then that's the way to do it, man. Because when we're all sitting there with thousands and thousands of views and everything, like, we started from the same place. And no help from just each other, you know?
When we're all rich and famous, we'll be talking about this.
I know, it's like...
Fucking God. Like, it's going to be famous and not rich.
Like, we're sitting here right now, but there could be a day where it's like, I continue this, and like, I get to a certain level, and you guys get to a certain level, and I'm going to a show, and you guys are playing, and then we're just sitting there just fucking hanging out with each other.
How the hell this happen?
Our success is mutual, you know, like, as long as if we could network ourselves and, like, make the scene, like, we're going to all be responsible for it.
We just don't overthink it, man. We've never overthought it, and I think that's, like, sometimes you can think that might be the problem. Like, when you look at our social media, it's like, shout out to Salt Wound, shout out to
Kind Eyes,
shout out to Kind Eyes, bro, fucking Kill Murphy, that's the homie. Also, check out Disperser. Shout out to all those guys. They have really big followings. They're working, and they do make amazing music.
And check out the small bands, too, man. Check out our boys Volraven, Nightingale, all these Tombs of Minerva. These are bands that we're working with, playing shows with, and we're all on the same level.
Yes, exactly.
Up, you know what I mean?
All the bands we just listed, there's something there for you if you like metal and you like instruments, man. If you like, you're like, oh, this is too fucking sludgy for me. Volraven's more thrash. We just listed a bunch of things over a bunch of different genres. All of that stuff's good.
That's why Psych is badass.
We look at some of them. We look at a lot of these different like these bigger bands. And there will be times where you sit there and I particularly will overthink it at home and be like, dude, like why are we not breaking? Like, what is it gonna take? And I think that honestly, I can't overthink it that much anymore. There's times when I still kind of do, but it's like a matter of like, it's going to happen. Just keep it going. And then like when you have random people recognize you saying stuff like you're that dude that yells, I saw you at Old Ironsides, or I saw you at Goldfield. You're like, yeah, what kind of weed do you want? Fucking shit like that. Like, there's stuff like that, and then you look at your like Instagram or something, and you're like, why is this not like where I want it to be? Right? Yeah. That's overthinking stuff, and I think that's just not. It's somewhat motivating, but at the same time, it can be destructive because you can just be looming on it and sitting on it and being like, this is what I need to do. I need to try this. I need to try that. I need to try that. Just give it your best foot forward, man. Just like with the music, give it your best foot forward.
Because you don't know what's gonna happen. And it's like, that's one thing I love about it. It's like
you gotta make it. Are you gonna kill yourself right now?
That's actually true.
Hey man, we should do a closing message though. What should we tell the fans? Because we got.
I want to ask this guy what song he likes the most from us.
Okay. I loved Cancel, okay? There's a bunch of, like, from that album, Liquid Attitude, it was a fucking killer album. But Cancel, like, not only the song was good, but, like, the way you intertwined the music video, and, like, it almost, like, I mean, you're not at a show, but it felt like you were there with you.
Good.
Dude.
Good. That's what
I wanted to hear, because I literally, like, from the day we started, talking about the Cancel video, I wanted to make sure the video was, like, I wanted to feel like it's a fucking night with the Full Metal Hippies. Like, we're getting I was trying to get the tattoo artist to tattoo me in the limo until I found out the fucking porn shit scene happened. I was like, dog. But yeah.
That makes it better, but, you know.
Dude, it worked out well. If you, like, you got to kick it with us, we got to kick it with you. It's been an awesome fucking time, man. Like, kicking it with us is just like, we're always going to treat people like they're fucking people. I'm never going to fucking sit there and be like, are you a fan or something? Yeah. I'm never going to sit there and say, leave me alone.
Yeah, that's all. Come to Sac, bro. Like, we'll take care of you, man. It'll be just like this. You know?
Okay, I definitely want to come out and hang out.
Yeah. Do a vlog in Sacramento, bro. Fucking have a crazy night.
It'll be a good time, bro. We'll have a good time for sure.
Fucking thank you guys.
Hell yeah.
Fucking
thank you, brother.
What's the closing message, man? What's the closing message?
Fucking.
We get a plug here. Or what do we do?
Yeah,
awesome, brother.
All your shit will be all their stuff will be down in the description below. Follow them on Instagram. What's your guys' Instagram? Full
Metal Hippies, man. So follow us on Instagram. Come to a show so you can get a shirt. Shirts are limited. It's a batch for the Cancel release. And watch our music video, Cancel.
And new shows will be announced very, very soon. I want to say, hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks we get something announced. We're going to push the fuck out of it on every platform. Come on out. Come say hi to us. We're real friendly.
You might catch us on accident. People call us and we just... People call us sometimes and we got to fix shows that got fucked up. So
follow Chris, follow the podcast.
Yep.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
Stay
bro.
with the podcast. Leave a like. Comment down below. Maybe we'll see these guys again. We'll do a vlog. And
this is the fucking end. Smoke a joint, you fucking loser.
oh yeah.
Drink a
Smoke
beer.
the fucking joint. You're a fucking loser.
Drink some.
Are you
3 a.m. even awake?
It's 3 a.m. Go to bed. Stop watching fucking YouTube. You're a fucking loser. You're a fucking loser. Get your fucking life together. Go get the go do what you want to fucking do. You goddamn you fucking pussy. Don't be a coward. Cut it right there.
We love you.